everybody, and welcome to this week's From Boxes to Butterflies. Let's see. Wow, we've already getting things filled up. I see Ollie is here. Hey Ollie and Sia. This is gonna be a whole lot of fun today. What I'm gonna do, because I time was kind of a little bit of an issue for this week's guest, so we're gonna dive right into it, and I'll kind of hold off some of my other announcements until the very end. So at this point, it's exciting because actually this week's guest is my first. No, she's my second timer on this, because CJ and Nick were the first ones to come back for an encore, and this week I've got the amazing Dr. Nhu. And the title for this week's episode, focusing on mindful forgiveness, is something that I threw out some ideas, and this is what she came back with, and it's really going to be a lot of fun with this. Mindfulness, and especially forgiveness, is something I talk a lot about, the importance of forgiveness. So I'm really excited for what Dr. Nhu has to say on this subject. And so without a whole lot of ado, except to note that she is also a 3-time best-selling author, and I've been fortunate to be in one book with her. And now let's welcome Dr. Nhu. Hey, sis.
Hi, sis. Happy Wednesday. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too. And I can see we've got a lot going on in the comments already, and I have my LinkedIn on my phone just so I can see if I miss comments, because sometimes LinkedIn is a little bit off. And it's beautiful when everybody's involved with the comments. So
Oh, I see Ollie say, welcome HR for you. That's a Chasen. And those who don't know, it that you have to check them out because be the change that you want to see in the world. And they're nonprofit, so an amazing um, heart soul leaders and lots of people are coming in. That's
it's keeping
awesome.
busy. So and I'm looking forward to this topic, and I really want to get an idea from you on how you view mindful forgiveness. Kind of give a little bit about yourself, but then let's kind of dive right into this topic, because I feel like there's a lot to it.
Yeah, and just so those who haven't don't know much about me, first is I'm honored, grateful, and blessed to be here with everyone in the presence of the only one and amazing Susanna Dawn, which now I have the pleasure to call my sis. In our inner circle and the Level Up Academy and the circle and the hounds of business, but really, truly, who I am is I want to spread love, kindness, empathy, and really compassion to the world around near and far through my own experience, life and work. And as a healthcare practitioner, I've seen what the world need more of not only be the change that you want to be, to see some of the things that you see frustration, but also how about we shift the frame of viewing the same scenario but a different perspective, open our world to having an open heart, to also having an open not only eyes to see, because if our eyes are open but we're blind to see what's out there because of our own bias, our own experience, and things that we don't really take in for what it is because of our own trauma and not letting it go, we will be blocked on certain extent. And it goes to not only our personal but business, to be really be successful. And so that is where I want to really, ignite people in their purpose, to really step into their purpose and don't forget their why, their value, and, what is it in it for them, what they truly want is different for everybody. So to really step into their power, and this is a powerful topics that we're going to dive in.
Yeah, and everything you said, I mean, I resonate with all of that. That open heart. For me, I'm always praying to make sure that my heart stays open, that it stays soft, and just the power of forgiveness as well, being mindful and like you said, when the eyes are open, when the heart is open, when we see others for who they really are instead of trying to interpret something or trying to say, because of this little piece, this is how I'm going to deal with them. And that's really how it is. It's those boxes. I'm going to put them in this box, and everybody in that box is painted based on a subset of whatever fits the desired narrative. And that's so it's like some can say bias. I kind of took it with that desired narrative. The narratives is somebody wants to say, this is what these people are like. And these is like fill in the blank. That's where it's like that we need to move beyond these boxes and let everybody shine authentically.
And I love that. And I totally resonate with, moving outside of the box, because we put the boxes, not only the society, our cultures, and different things that we put, but we also put ourselves in a box, right? We put
Right.
ourselves in and label it in a way that maybe others don't view us, but we view that, because we're our worst critics right there. And I think we have to really unblock those all those things to really shine. And so I totally resonate 100% on this topic.
Well, and that us putting ourselves in the box, there's so many different ways we do it, but one of the ones that I always jump into is the imposter syndrome aspect, because it's the easiest one to point to us putting ourselves in a box, and then we can expand from there. But we got the mindfulness, so let's talk a little bit more about mindfulness and what does it mean to be mindful so that we can use that going into forgiveness.
Yeah, and really mindful, the things, first and foremost is we have to be present in the moment, right? Aware, have the sense of awareness of all we are at the moment. In each interactions and each experience is the here and now, not, upon reflecting on and on about what I used to be, what I used to make, what I used to look like, right? Before you have kids, for those who have kids, or like what your life used to, right? That used to
Right.
is different. We all evolve, and our transformation is different. And I think the same way as, if let's say we look at nonprofit organization or things that bring us more fulfillment in life, is different in different time period, right? Because it's all aligned to who we are and at that moment in time. So that's where, don't compare yourself with, someone middle when you're beginning, or your middle with someone like ending, and that's truly being in the present moment, to be aware of all the things that's happening now. And then you can move on and look at all the things. But if you're not there and you're pondering, you lose the value of what's now. And that is one of the key that, to really um, be the most effective when we go want to go into a topic of forgiveness, right?
Right.
On someone that has done wrong to us, or maybe we have made the wrong mistakes, or whatever that we put ourselves in. We're the worst critic. So it could be, we made a wrong decision in business, that now you're holding back, and then you can't move on to the next step because you're traumatized by making that same investment.
Right. Yeah, that stuckness
Mhm.
of living in the past. And that's how I've always kind of viewed it is we need to stay in the present because the past is exactly that's why it's called the past. And if we can stay in the present, and and then when we get in the forgiveness, I'll kind of take that a little bit further.
Yeah, and really, you know, being in the present moment also you want to embodies, before we have compassionate to others, you want to have self-compassionate, to yourself. Because in order for us to really forgive or do anything that are kind, loving, and empathetic towards someone else, you have to do that on your own, meaning your own reflection of have you done that to yourself? Have you given yourself the grace to love yourself, to be kind to yourself, right? Give yourself some of that because not every day is the same. It's the same whether it's personal or business. You have to also look into those.
Right. It's what I've found for me is the more present I am, the more time goes at the appropriate pace. So the more that I stay focused on now and live in the present, time it's like I hear all these people talk about how time is going by so fast. It's so fast. Look, the month is already so far through. The year is already so far through. And it's like I'm not feeling that when I stay grounded in the present. Things from the past might hit me, but if I can stay grounded in the present, time moves appropriately, I guess.
No, it's really true because if if you run too fast in the future, then you think you're too behind, right? You're not running fast enough because the clock was always gonna keep running the days and the months. But if you ponder on the past, then you're always gonna feel like, oh, like oh my goodness, where all the time gone? All the whatever the
Right.
age that you think that you're supposed to be in a certain successful in what age group, and then you're like, oh no, I'm so behind, and I haven't gone there. So it's really eh, the only thing that you truly can control is the present, right? And we can learn from the past, which means you have to be willing to let go of that resentment, whether it's yourself or whoever's that done wrong to really be authentically removing the mask and really show up as who you are without having to worry about what somebody's going to say about you. So that is how I think until you know about yourself, you cannot truly 100% be authentically real because someone will figure it out. Like in the end, they're like, oh, something's not right, right? So that's where it's so important.
Yeah, it's that there's too much masking in this world, too much hiding to like you said, somebody might figure it out. So that's why we build all these walls to hide ourselves behind, to hide that which we're afraid others might learn about. But if we go back to the forgiveness part, that I see as being one of the most important things for both healing, for our healing, and for cutting the chains of the past. They keep trying to drag us under. Right? The two of them really go hand in hand.
Yeah, because when you let go, really, you can look at two ways, right? When you look at it as even no matter how bad you have it, but if you practice, let's say, the impermanence, which means nothing lasts forever, that you're not guaranteed tomorrow, but we here in the present moment, that's a blessing, right? A gratitude of having the now. So whatever life hits at you in the past and still does, it's still a gratitude. Don't look up on all the blessing you see on the social media and things that people really share only the good and the fame, right? They don't share
Right.
what their stories when they're crying or they're emotionally depressed or like really think twice about a lot of things, right? So there's things that I think sometimes we have to get real in that sense is that no matter what success, what struggles, we're all the same. And that's the common language that we all need to kind of see that no matter what struggles and things, that the story might be a little different, but the same essence is there, right? And having that gratitude of having the moment now to have, another breath in this world, right? To share your thoughts and whatever come out of it's the smallest gratitude that we have. It change your perspective and the lens what you're having now. Because if you reflect back, you're like, oh, I wish I have should have done this in my teenager year. I waste all of this. I didn't. But then if you rewind, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be who you are now. So
Right.
everything happens for you, right? It didn't happen to you, it happened for you for a reason. So that is the special secret sauce that people don't think about, is all those things is beautiful. It's like the gem, the different multiple things.
Well, and what you just said too, um, the past is what made us who we are. When you look at my signature emoji, which is also on my picture there, that's what that second butterfly is for. It's the butterfly effect. It's as it was written by Ray Bradbury in a time travel story called A Sound of Thunder. And the bottom line is to go back in the past and change anything to our lives. And we can sit here and go, I wish I had done this. It's not a big deal, so it shouldn't change anything, right? It just would make my life a little bit better. The minute you make that little change, you've put your life on a whole different trajectory. And who you become, aligned with where you're at in time now, you may not recognize them. You may not even like who that person is because it's not you anymore. It's somebody else.
Yeah, that's totally true. It's and that's when we talk about having that practice, and it start with, just small changes but consistent, right, actions that you do it every day, that will make you shift of whatever you're going through to have that change. So if you want to forgive anyone or anything, you practice gratefulness and forgiveness. Like grateful for what you have now, and forgive all those who have wronged. And even you should also, we all make mistakes. We all should say, we also, please forgive me if I have wronged anyone. Right, in the
Right.
journey, through our words, our action, and that reflection is very powerful. It will shift a lot of things, that not only in your eyes, in your circle, the things and your circumstances and the people that will come to your life will change, because you change, because you've become someone else,
Right.
and you draw that energy come toward you. And that's the powerful, when people believe in the process, to keep on be consistent. When someone's saying this is how it works, you have doubts, but maybe just trust that process. Maybe try it, give it a try, right? Be consistent every day and see what happened. Did you see a shift? Did your friends notice, or your inner circle, your family, see the changes in you? You might not see in yourself, but others see a change in you. And that
Right.
is where the transformation is evolving, right?
Well, and that's the beauty of, like we said, quit focusing on the past, focus on now, because then whatever changes you make them now. It's still you and it's still your path. You haven't gone off the path of what made you you, and then you can take those steps. And I love that you used the word ignite at the beginning, because for me, at one point I talked about it's important to spark awareness, and like I've thrown that out the window now. It's like, if I see somebody that is stuck in a box, I want to help them to get move beyond that box. I want to ignite their awareness. I mean, we all know, okay, I'm stuck in a box and I should do something. It's just like I should go for a walk. I shouldn't have dessert. I should call this person. but it's the awareness that allows you to take that step and actually do it. It's not knowledge, because we all know stuff we're supposed to do. We just don't do it.
And that's the um like, for instance, when we talk about forgiveness, right? When that actual step when you notice whether if someone say something wrong to you, right? And
Right,
you want to normal, you would wanna say something back, right? You wanna snap it back. You wanna say something, "Oh, I didn't do it," or "I didn't say that," or whatnot. But how about reframe in a way? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe there's something that is a reflection of who they are, but go further than that is still stay true to you through your actions and forgive them by still loving them, right? Still
right.
embracing for who they are. Because if you put yourself in that person's shoes and their path to get them where they are now, you would maybe be able to relate to say, oh, I understand why that person, that word would not make them so, it doesn't resonate with them, or maybe it caused something that traumatized to revisit, that it's not about you, but it's something that they have to work within themselves. So having that grace to also know that we're all different. We all walks in this, in this path we call life in this world, but it's different, right? Different journey, different, force that we have to go through. And I think having that awareness that and the grace to know that we don't know everything about that person until we're in their shoes. So give them some grace, and forgiveness is even hard, not only even though you don't believe and you won't act that way, but having that might give them the hope that someone care about them, right? To
Right.
to to believe in them, that there's some goodness in them, that they can change. They can change because they see the beauty that you deliver, what your words through your actions.
Well, and you've just created a trifecta, really, because you opened up with gratitude, and there's still more to talk about forgiveness, but now you've added grace to it as well. It's like we need all three of these going. Is and I'm I don't know which is hardest to do, the forgiveness or the grace. And I'm not going to try and sit here and go which should come first, the chicken or the egg, because they kind of they're interchangeable. But being able to give that grace, because the bottom line is loving each other. And when we can do that, it opens the door up to do so much more for grace. And then the forgiveness, I'll just kind of finish what I'd started, is forgiveness is for us. And I know a lot of people, I've seen them say, well, you should let them know you forgave them, and you should talk to them and all this stuff. And I know from my own personal experience that's not going to work. There are too many times that you've been wronged, or you've perceived the wrong, however you want to put it. But to go tell somebody that you forgive them now is to open up the possibility that they'll just turn around and go, I didn't do anything wrong. And now you've got a worse situation. But if you can sit there and go, just sit here, and I dealt this with my dad, and I dealt with it with the worst situation that happened to me, to be able to just go, okay, this happened, and focus on forgiveness, forgiving what happened. It may take a few days to get over it, and the pains may last, the scars will last for a while, but they will heal, versus holding on to it and just letting it fester.
Yeah, and it's I know it's easier now when we talk about this, but at the moment when your anger or whatever that arise at the moment, that the most dramatic moment in your life, but having a moment to kind of pause, right? And have a deep breath and just inhale and exhale and just like, wait a minute. But having that a little pause not only give you a little moment to how you would react, or maybe you don't need to react, right? Because that fact that sometimes you might not even need to react is a powerful move right there, because they know that you don't need to feed in. Because like you're saying, if you you didn't have that conversation, now you open, like what Mike just saying, you open the wound again, right? So
Exactly.
like maybe you move past that, and through your actions and through all the things that you would do, they will see the changes in you. Like let's say if you ask for forgiveness, but asking is just word, are you actually doing something about it, right? So sometime that mindful of when you can have that conversation with that person or to yourself, but of the right moment, the right timing. Because if it's not the right timing and the right moment, it might not work well, right? And so sometime, or you can just, when it's really heated, then just take a walk, have a mindful walk, and just clear your brain, and just let, just really decompress in a way that get out, at least they call it out of sight, out of mind. Just, get away for
Right.
a bit, take a walk outside your neighborhood. Um, and it's just the powerful on really, like you saying, when you talk about forgiveness, it's not just for that person, it's for yourself. Because if you're not able to give that person, you're still stuck on that moment in time. You're always gonna revisit that story. Why did that person done so wrong to me? I did so well, I did so good, and they did this. So you recreate the scenario. What did I do? And you keep on going through that scenario again, but nothing you did. You didn't do anything that caused that. So how about reframing in a way? Oh, so how can I use that scenario and help someone else go through that journey? And how about we help people to, untie those chains that they put in themselves when they can't forgive themselves, right? And so I think that is, I've seen that many people can't move um, a certain block in personal development and business development because of that block and that box that they put themselves in, because they can't forgive someone or something that happened in their life. And until you really have that moment to pause and reflect on your own, on, and no one can do it. Only you, like only us,
Right.
we can do it on ourselves. And it's just something that it needs some work. You can do journal, right? You can do things, writing a books about it, maybe turn that into books, a story. I mean, there's things, ways to turn something from a negative to a positive, and find that gap and help someone else out, maybe for a higher purpose. And they're like, oh, maybe I can do this. Being innovative and think outside to make it so you don't dwell on that moment of time that you resent someone or you resent yourself.
Well, and I love how you beautifully painted the picture of that chain that holds us to the past. When you keep thinking about that situation and you just keep going back to it and you're going back to it, that's the chain. Until you can stop going back, until you can forgive whoever needs to be forgiven, and it may be both, it could be ourselves and somebody else. But when you can forgive yourself, forgive them, then you stop, you're not connected to that chain anymore. It's, you're letting it go.
Yeah, because in relationship, whether it's spouse or a business, because if you're still holding on to that grudge, then the moment something happened that's similar, you're gonna trigger that, the activation, and then you're gonna snap right away because you bubble. You haven't worked on that resentment and the forgiveness. So the next thing that happened, you snap and everything, like everybody's like, "What happened? Like, did I do something wrong?" Then that is where, because we truly got something within us that we haven't really figured out why we would act a certain way. So sometime, and the most powerful thing, and most people don't see it, is when things happen, they point out. They point what's wrong with that person. Why did they do that to me? Instead, if we put a mirror and looking at it back, did we do anything that could have been a part of their activation, or as a whole, as in society? Like, the recent tragedy like Iowa. It's so saddened how so many massive shootings to kids and to all level. It's like, but if you look at it, n- there's we have to have empathy and compassion not only for the victim, but the person's pulling the trigger because the society, whatever that trauma that gotten that person to that point, you have to imagine it's a very lonely, very scary. Like for someone to do that kind of actions, whether they, resort to killing themselves or hurting others. But that's how we can be the bridge. We can have more humanity to have loving kindness because until we have that conversations and really look at all the things that as a society as a whole, if you want to see the changes, then we have each individual of us has to be the change, right? To have more
Right.
loving kindness and empathy and compassion and give people grace and loving and forgive people when they make mistakes. Everybody make mistakes, right? But if you don't and you keep on adding up, stack, 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 one day that person will explode. They can't handle it anymore because it's like no one give them any hope, no loving kindness like that grace. And I think
Mhm.
that is where we have more work to be done because as our next generations coming, and I mean it's just a lot of things that I see that we just need to hold hands, love one another more, see each other for who they are, respect them even if you don't like certain way their cultures or whatnot. And And then another thing I find is that how about reframe it? Is there anything goodness in that person or in that scenario, right? Because I think if you turn something bad and you can look at it as a positive, oh, that person is positive this way. You nurture the positive, you pull them out versus you talk about the negatives like, oh, New is so and so, like or whatever, or Susanna, like who would want to listen to a negative all the time, right? But if
Right.
you have embraced the positive and then have a positive feedback and say, "Oh, I love, the way you do this. How about a suggestion, maybe another episode of something else?" It's a better positive feedback to really um the right way to treat someone, right? Because I think at the end of the day, if we picture someone you love the dearest and we love that person on the other side, would we want to be treated like that, right? And I think for us to have that image of it's not just about that person. If you were on the other side, would you want to be forgive? Or if your loved one is on the other side, how would you want them to be treated? And I think when we see that, then you can have grace and more forgiveness for that person versus saying, oh, well, because it's my family, then I'm just gonna forgive them. We have those conversations. Oh, we can't live without them, but we can't like you can't live with them, but you can't live without them. So it's the same scenario, I think, for thy neighbor near and far. And I think if you show up and you really care and love and forgive, people resonate and can pull that out and find hope. And I think society now need more than ever to really look into forgive people who do wrong. Of course, we don't condone. We're not here to say violence is never an answer, but we have to look at why, what caused it, and how can we be the change so people don't resort to those kind of action, right? And it start not only in society in our school, it start at home. It start when they're young. It start in the family, and we have to have an open, honest conversation. Did we instill some things that is a negative thoughts, right? That drop little by little as they're little, and then they get older. So a lot of things we have to be take responsibility for ourselves, for our own actions. And I think until we have that really honest, open conversation that we own up to our own actions, the world would be a better place. And I think that not only our world, our small world that we live in, and we have thoughts and things in our head, mental health is so important, but also the world that we see out there. And it starts with us. We're the seed, and we keep on having the right seed and nurture the right seed so we can grow in that positivity, loving, nurturing fruit that we want at the end of the day. And we have to reverse engineer what fruit we want. So we need to embody that.
Yeah, it's that there's too much thoughts about well, there's too many people right now that everything is black and white, and they can't even conceive that they could have anything in connection with somebody else. And the reality is they have a lot in common, and it's not just down to the if you cut you bleed red. I mean, it's if you were to take two people who are totally opposite of each other and then write down a list of things about each of them and swap it, it's like, okay, this is the person we want you to meet, this is the person we want you to meet. And they read through it and they probably go, oh yeah, I can't wait to meet this person. They don't see him, they haven't made a judgment on him, all they know is these basic things that actually are in common with them. And then the minute that they are in the same room together and they see each other, it's like, okay, now do you still think that's a bad person when you know more about them?
Yeah, it's something
The,
when you said that it something that can jump out at me. It's the experience, even the negative, and the positive, we don't resonate so much. But when you think of the negative experience in our life or anything that we've gone through, it makes a huge impact, right?
it
So
does.
just imagine that huge impact that we carry and we're willing to let go for what it is and be thankful for to be able to experience it because you know how to not only get out of it, right? Now that we're in this time, but also a bigger heart to forgive someone, right? So it also shows not only you give yourself love, but you also have that compassion and not to yourself but to others. And I think just that will free you and you can walk to multiple open doors of opportunities because you're willing to let go of something that you hold so dearly in your heart resentment, but then it's chaining you up from success because of the limitation, right? The things that you're not able to see, like a really beautiful, I guess, in a way, like a picture. You don't see the picture even in a trauma and all the things, but then once you get out of it, you see a beautiful way how you want to help people, how you want to lift others because you've gone through that experience. Because without experience like that, you won't be able to resonate. You won't be able to understand what they gone through. So that itself is everything that happened to us has a lesson and a reason
Right.
for us to experience it. But sometimes we reject, we don't want, we say, no, that's not a lesson. I don't want it, right?
And I'm going to give you this question by Chris. How do you get someone to let go of the past?
Oh, and he said, I've let go of my past, but family members keep throwing up my past. So how do you let go of the past when your family is keep reminding you
And
about it?
others keep reminding
Probably
you
that's what
about it.
um really you in a way, and I don't know if it might sound one practical way is either if you can not ignore or don't feed into like justification, right? Whatever happens in the past, you keep on justifying, like showing and through your words or things like, I'm going to justify why I didn't do that, or you have to keep on contemplate on it or meditate on that same thing that someone talk about you. And that really to move past it is just be you. Meaning, if you already forgive someone, right? It's through your not only your words that you said you move on, but also your action. Meaning, whatever they throw at you, you still can be calm. You still can be gracefully loving and move on because you're not held to the past. And I know it's hard. It's not easy when a lot of things. it takes a lot of work. It's not something I said that with any light and any lightweight on it. It's truly something that we internally we all have to work on it, and that's something that um to know that it's for your own peace and sanity, right? If you don't have, you can't let go of it. Just think of your sleep. Like if you're either depressed, anxiety, or if you can't sleep because of someone in your inner circle, your family members say something and it, it bugs you, you're going to have stress into your body. You're going to have mental things that prevent you from going to sleep or have a restful, peaceful sleep. And so a lot of health detrimental if you don't see some of the things that it's underlining that cause some of the things that you're going through because you kind of push it off until you really have to kind of face it and say, I have to face it head on and to really get to the bottom line of yourself, not just at someone else. And I think that that is a conversation and truly only you can do because until you show up and you've seen that nothing they do can affect, let's say if you're with a narcissist and just keep on talking down everything about you, but if you keep on feeding and trying to justify, I didn't do that, I didn't like, nothing will come out of it because they're going to stay true to who they are. So I think until you show up a different version of yourself and show that nothing will shake you. You're still gonna gracefully continue on with your life, all right? Embrace all the things that you have going on. Then the person and the family member that they will see the true you because you will affect them. And it's it will take time. You know, some people has a lot of works for themselves, so they can't forgive you. You know, it's not just about you.
Right.
Or like they bring it up the past because they have something that they need to work on. So that's something that it's a lot of complicated. It's not just about us, it's about the other person also, the family member who always bring it up. Because if they're letting let go and we saying we're done, you know why you keep on bringing it up, that means you either want to recreate this scenario again. And it's truly, it's not about you, Chris. I think when Chris is listening, is like it's about the other person, right? So sometimes you do the best that you can, meaning what you're comfortable at the moment. Like whatever your comfort zone of letting it go, just let it be for what it is. And let that person have their space that for them to work on themselves. Because I think there's a lot of things that that person who said that to you would need to do some work themselves. That's
Well, it's that the most important thing to get over it is being able to in this case not knowing the whole detail, but if there's something in the past, I'm just kind of guessing that maybe it's something that we did wrong and or perceived wrong, and then others just keep bringing it up. We have to get over it ourselves first. We have to forgive whoever it is that we have to forgive first, let it go, and then if others aren't going to forgive, if they're just going to keep bringing it up, you've got two choices. As long as love is the foundation of what you do, you can either just let it roll off your back like water off a duck, because if it sounds like a situation where you can't keep arguing about it because it's just going to create issues. So you either just roll with it because that's who they are, you accept them for who they are, or you love them, but you keep a distance. And if they ask about it, it's like, well, I kind of have to keep my distance because as long as you keep bringing this up, I'm over it. You're obviously not. I have to have my distance because I got to have my well being
right.
and
And
our well being.
Go ahead, Susanna.
No, our well-being is really what we have to do to be able to help anybody else.
Yeah, and to add on is that energy, right? The energy for you to keep on putting that energy of yourself into a negative situation or a person when you have done all your best. I'm not saying to just remove yourself, but you have to know you protect your energy, right? Protect the things is valuable to you, because if you're not there, and we're all not saints, right? We're not angels, and to be able to be in a surround environment that they're gonna say, okay, just throw rocks and throw everything at me and I'll be fine, we're it's not how that goes. But give yourself grace to give some space for yourself, and then for the other person so they can cool off. And also protecting your energy and where you want to put your energy into is very important, because whatever you focus on, you grow. So if you focus on positivity, the positivity will grow. You want to focus on love, it will grow. So if you focus on negativity and like why that person did this, then your whole mind is just shifting toward that energy, right? And
Right,
so that is where I think we have to know what we want to align ourselves with, stay true to our core values, our purpose, and the rest will show through what you're coming out with, not just a product or service of your what you wear different hats. And as when we talk about wear multiple hats of industry and different whatnot, but it's all the same. It has to go through from your thoughts to the words and your actions, so everything will come together in sync, and that's alignment. And so it's so many little things that and to really, at the end of the day, if you cannot move on because you hold on so much of resentment and not forgive, then how can you um that like the door, if you see the door, you handcuff and you can't move any further because you're blocked by your handcuff. You have to willing to let it go, let it go, and set yourself free so you can move past that door, right? And shine, or like move above, out of the box, because until you do, you cannot truly live a fulfilled, loving, joyful life with your true purpose, because everyone has a purpose in this, and it's a special gift. We're all unique, and that's the thing that I think everyone need to own up, to step up to their power and saying, whatever it is, you live it, accept it. Let's free yourself from the all the things that you hold yourself to a chain, and just let it go. Throw that key, unlock the handcuff, and throw it in the oceans, and just let it be, let it free, and move on. Let's not, revisit. Let's not do this. And what if I should do this, and why they do? Let's just let it be, and you see the beauty, and just go on with your life, and that gracefully, literally, that will justify all the things to come to. All the things will come, and you see the beautiful fruit that you desire because of all the things that you put yourself in, and that works is willing to do it for yourself so you can do it for others.
yeah, I know you, as you read that, I know you had a time limit, and we just keep going. It's like this conversation could keep going and going and going.
You so right. I don't sleep it. Does that what I do, keep my distance, but long run it hurts. I don't say anything. I just walk away. I wanna be here. Don't want to be here. Just leave up to God to lead me in the right direction. It keeps me away from mom, my sisters. That does it hard. I know, and our family, because we love them so dearly. We 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 grew up with them. It's like there's lots of emotional things that we tie and put love and kindness and everything into hopes and for our family. But then the family is the one that all most time is the one that's giving you that prick that like pinpoint pain, right? That are the same thing as you can't live with them, but you can't live without them. And sometimes that is like what do you call a problems, right? Well, they call it like look at it as you have a difficult problems. How would you want to solve that? And to think of is solving is going through the whole, like mathematical problems to solve that equations, or you do it, but you don't have to go back and forth. Just have that s- moment of time when you not only love before I guess the experience that when Chris was saying it's, and I resonate totally, because the reason why family member give you the hardest time because they expect you a different way and you expect family a different way, so the
Right.
different expectations is different. But even though we're tied by blood, but we're not the same identity, meaning you're different. We all, my sibling are different. What I do, what I see, they don't see the same thing I see. They see I'm
No.
crazy, so but it's still, we don't want to hurt anyone in a way, but in a way just maybe distance yourself a little bit, when it's need or necessary for a family gathering, then you can. But things that you want to talk about, then you can chime in. But if you don't have much to talk about a certain subject, then we don't have to, because that's the, I think sometime holiday season a lot of time is so difficult for people, because the family is the one that sometimes is the one to activate a lot of trauma, right? A lot of things all can be the cause of it, and it's hard to see it because we hold so dearly. And I think having to let go of that attachment, right? To put the label on, they are your family. They have to be a certain way. Let the label go. Let our ego go to wanting to hold on tight and just let it go. Even though not letting go meaning you don't want to talk to them forever again, but meaning have a way to be at peace, because when you start to be at peace, the rest of the conversation, the way you show up will be different. And I think until you have the transformation within yourself, then your family can't see it totally. And it's with time, with time, people will see that, oh, no matter what I do to Susanna, she's still going to be calm. She's not going to go crazy on me because she's already calm because you've done the work. But some people, it's very hard when you're in the midst of it. It's tough, but know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep working yourself, and having that loving kindness, compassion, and empathy for yourself and others. It will transform your lives, right? And to the others around you.
It's gonna
This
do that, and I know exactly. I mean, it's
So
fun
I was
watching
saying
them.
that this topic it's a lot of deep, um lots of things that so many different things that we can talk about, because it's not just us. There's multiple factors, right?
Well,
And
and we've all got our own experience because in this case, as you were talking and ignoring Mike and his ace of base, because I know that very well, is is the fact that I've lived this. I'm going through it in many ways right now because my family, I basically can't be with my family when your family doesn't accept you. They can't accept who you are as a whole person. They only see you as a piece. And this may even go back to what Chris is talking about too. If they keep going back to something that's in the past, it's like they're going back. They only see a piece of who you are. And some of that's because of how you grew up, and it's their beliefs, or it's what they expect, it's their expectations. And that, I mean, we can go forever on that. But when you're not who they are expecting you to be, or you're not, you make a mistake and you're doing everything you can to fix, but they can't get off of it. In my case, it's almost like a mutual estrangement. I don't even when I see my dad at times, there's no conversation, there's no eye contact. The same goes with my youngest brother. Um, it's like Christmas presents get exchanged, but sometimes that's meaningless. There's it's just checking a box at that point. And having that distance, it's for me, I found my safety and security in those that, quite frankly, I haven't even known a year. There's nobody that I am closest to that I've known for even 12 months at this point, because I didn't meet the first of the sisters until February. And that's when I met the first two of them. And I didn't meet you, Nhu, until a few months ago. So those that we feel closest to and those who are more like the real family, those are the ones to focus on. And if the family we grew up with, if they're being difficult, if they're pulling things from the past, if they can't let something go, it's them that's not letting it go. If you can let go of the past, if you can forgive them, if you can accept them, and this is the other piece I do with forgiveness, is accept them, knowing how they grew up, knowing who they are, knowing who they were when you were growing up, knowing who they are right now. Stay focused in the present, accept all of that for good and bad, and just just expect that they may not change because you've got a history, but leave the door open for them to change, because you don't want to close off doors that you don't have to. You keep your distance when you have to, but you don't close the doors unless they basically have tried to kill you, and then it's like, yeah, we're done with that door. I will love you, but the door's locked.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah, I get the when you mentioned about, I think one of the things that for forgiveness to really forgive is to truly forgive is not just expect them to change, but I think when they see evolve and your own transformation and what the impact that you carry through and you're able to not only inspire, ignite that change within themselves because they want to change, then that's a beautiful transformation for them. But when you forgive in the expectation that they going to change, then I'm going to forgive you, then you set yourself up for another revisit because human design, human nature sometimes they're not gonna change. And that's how the philosophy is. Until you change, everything else around you will change. And it really truly because the same scenario can happen, but your view and the frame, what you're already set up, you don't see the same problem. You see the beauty in someone. Maybe they say something, but you're able to reframe it so now they're more calmer, right? So I think there's ways that we can transform someone or they can be affected through us by showing up who we are. And that is why um, having that honest conversation with yourself, knowing yourself, have you really forgive someone, right? And not expecting. And that's the same as saying, "Oh, I'm doing something good for you. I'm expecting something return." You're setting up yourself a failure right there. What if they didn't? Then you're gonna like, "Oh, I did this so much and they didn't do anything for me," right? So I think the same concept is, forgive them, but take ownership on yourself and don't let anyone handcuff you, and then let go of the handcuff that you put on yourself and set
yeah,
yourself free, and so that way you can be able to do other things that you or limit yourself because you put yourself in that chain. And that is the true forgiveness and living in the present moment. And that is a powerful, but not many people are able to surpass those challenges. but it's keeping that consistency, daily practice of, gratitude and forgiveness for all the things we've done that possibly unknowingly wrong someone, through our words and our action, and forgive those who have wronged us, and the gratitude for us to always be able to be here in the present moment, and gaining so many wonderful, families through our journey, and look, the possibility of us connecting through LinkedIn and having sister and brotherhood. It's like, and that is having that open mind and open heart, right? And to really let them be for who they are, and not judge, non-judgmental on someone, and
Hmm.
forgive them for who, for whatever they done. The past is the past. Just let it go
Yep.
and be in the present moment. And that's the beautiful that we can all be a part on, and we all kind of help each other on.
Yeah, we've gotten our full hour in. And I know we could keep going, but I'm gonna segue slightly because everything we just talked about, especially the past, and it really fits into CJ's book that's coming up too, because there's so much gray area. It's like we don't fit over there, we don't fit over here. But the way I look at it is when you're living in the gray, and there's a lot of gray in what we've just talked about, you're in that middle zone, not knowing. You're trying not to get stuck in a box anymore. You're trying to live. And to me, being in that gray zone is being out of the box in so many ways, because if you want to be over there, you want to be over here, because you are this is where you were born, but this is where you live, and you don't see how they can connect, and you're living in the gray, but you're thriving because you don't fit that, you don't fit this, but you're thriving. That's really what that book is all about, is telling those stories. So doing the doing the shameless plug for CJ is like, for those of you who are really interested in realizing that you're in a gray zone and you're surviving and you're thriving, then this is something else to look at, is tell your story about what it's like to be stuck in that zone, but to thrive in that zone. Create that legacy for somebody else, because when you see it and you're able to put it down for others to read, then they can come back and go, thank you, because it ignited the awareness that they needed to go to the next place. I'm watching the messages kind of fly by. But I wanted CJ's. I wanted this one, because that's what this book is all about. It is another way of leaving a legacy, to say, read what I went through, for those who have gone through the same thing, and hopefully not only then will they learn something from our stories, but they'll be able to turn around and write their own stories, because now they're thriving. And
Yeah,
so with
and
go ahead.
no, go ahead, Susanna.
No, because I was going to say, it's kind of like with that, and it's like I'm doing a workshop to help people get ready for the to get into this anthology, because the anthology doesn't start until the 1st of February. So for anybody that's worried about their writing, like, I've got a workshop on the 20th. I've been posting about it. It's at my website, which is susannadawnwriter.com, and it's that chance to get the basics for writing a chapter in an anthology, because that's where we're at now. It's only a chapter, but so much can be said in that chapter. But
Yeah,
then
it's
as we come to the end, it's like, this is where I want you to, whatever golden nuggets, whatever last words you want to provide, that's what I want to get from you.
Yeah, it's beautiful on not only um, be able to share not only our struggles and hardship and then put it in a books, right? And to inspire not only today and tomorrow. Those are the lessons that you've gotten out. And to really inspire, ignite the change in someone that want to be the change, but they haven't know what the courage and how to. And I think being surrounded yourself with communities like the Hounds of Business, community and the Level Up Academy, and Dr. Constantly and Mike Asheranner. I believe in Walking Tall movement with Chris, Todd, Anita, the Outliers projects with Scott. We talking about people that are be the change, like Jason with his HR for you. We talk about Tracy Lamb when we doing caregivers and worldwide, giving that message out. Like the no 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 the most um coming up one is the healthcare amplify, right? So when we're talking about wanting to be the change, how about first is align yourself with a community like yourself that you want to grow into and maybe learn something from them. That's also another inspirations to kind of learn and get your baby step in there. But also there's people that are have no incentive. They're willing to cheer you on even if nothing. It's just they're here to elevate each other, to lift one another up, because at the end of the day, how you want to be remembered at after our passing is, have we make an impact? What impact do we want to leave behind, our legacy? And that is more powerful than the fame and the money and the mansions and all the shiny object, because you can't carry any of that with you, right? And to really step into their purpose, remember their why, their values, and their purpose, and stay true to who they are. Be surrounded by love, give yourself love, and then give love, spread love, kindness, the empathy and compassion to others. The rest will flow. The rest, everything else that you're looking for will come to you. And that is a true testament of, I think, all of us, of how our journey align and putting us in the right place and right people to share our voice. And I'm so honored and grateful to be here with you, Susanna, and those who are listening to us. It's 2024. Happy New Year to all those listening. May everyone always be healthy, happy, and a blessing and abundance of peace, love, joy, and prosperity and success in all they do for the benefit of all, humankind. And that is be the change and put people over everything, and the rest will flow. And I love you all, and thank you so much for taking time with me and Susanna. Thank you, Susanna, for having me on.
Oh, I'm glad it worked out, and it's just I'm still starting to sit here going, geez, we kind of talked a half an hour, and then look where we're at. But the conversation just took us there. It's like there was no natural stopping point, and I'm really looking forward to I'm really looking forward to 2 weeks when it's off to Healthcare Amplified and then Podfest with besties. It's like finally getting to see in real life some of the amazing people that are so important to me. So it's going to be a great rest of the month. Even if they are talking some snow around here over the next week, and it's great that everybody was able to come and join us. Um, I mean, yeah, sis, you can say amazing, but you all were amazing too. The comments, I loved how much was generated and the just the energy in this conversation. So with that, I'm gonna say thank you. I will see y'all next week. Um, and other than that, have an amazing rest of the day, a lovely rest of the week, and make sure that you're working on yourself, on your own mindfulness and forgiveness. I mean, we had our trifecta. It was gratitude, forgiveness, and grace. And I think there were a couple other things thrown in that really go with it as well. But keep all of those in mind. But to me, for me, forgiveness is really the core to being able to let go of the past and live in the present so that the future doesn't become a repeat of the past. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Love you all.